Cool. So I'll move on to this chat attribution improvement piece, and I'll actually use this example. So some background here, as I'm sure many of you have experienced, the subscripts attribution thing doesn't always work that well. Like when you click a subscript, a lot of times that the results that it pulls up from the story tile source is irrelevant or just bad. So did some improvements last week, or Connor did some improvements last week, kind of on the back end. And the approach here, and maybe he explained some of this in one of his demos last week when I wasn't here, but the idea is that now whenever we generate a chat response, when we generate those responses, there's some context that we use from story tiles in the context we send to OpenAI. And so now we're saving which story tiles exactly we used for context to a database. And so then when I come in here, for example, let's go back to this chat message that I sent. Of course, I navigated away. Let's see if it'll come back. I do this. Let's see. If not, I can send a new message. Tell me about machine learning. So the idea here is like when I click one of these subscripts, the source on the side should be one of the sources that was actually used to generate this response. The previous approach is that it could technically pull from any of the story tiles that are within this tag. So there might be a lot of story tiles in this tag that were not used to generate this response, and those in the past would have been returned. So let me find one of these that looks kind of specific. Sure, something about algorithms. So I click that, I set a breakpoint on the back end here. I don't know if, Jing, I don't know if maybe we don't want to show this part, but so the first thing we do is we get the exact story tiles that were used to generate that chat message. And so that's here. So you can see there were 114 story tiles that were actually used as context when we generated that chat response. And now when we're finding the most similar sentences, we're limiting it to those 114 story tiles rather than looking at all of the story tiles within the tag. So this should give us theoretically a much more accurate response. So let me let this finish, go back up here. Cool, a thing about algorithms, that seems maybe better. There's probably still some improvements we can do, but the idea is these should be a lot more accurate and specific to the content that was used to generate these responses now.